Chapter 78, A Miracle or an Opportunity. 3. Where am I? And what am I doing here on this unfamiliar bed? Lloyd blinked several times. He wondered how long he had been asleep. His eyes felt heavy, and his neck and back ached as well. Lloyd thought to himself, I wish I possessed a new body. Seriously, I wish I was transmigrated into another person with a silver spoon whose parents are loaded. Seriously. Of course, his current situation was much different. That was something Lloyd knew very well. A cascade of messages floated in front of him the moment he opened his eyes. As he read them through, Lloyd vaguely formed an idea of what had happened to him. You have saved a number of people from disaster with your sacrifice and valor, setting an example. The citizens of Cremo, the city of commerce, are deeply moved by your selfless action. For that achievement, you have been awarded a large amount of bonus RP. You have acquired 1000 RP. Current RP, 1046. I did what? Sacrifice, valor, set an example? Saved a bunch of people from a disaster? Ha ha. Lloyd gave a laugh as he looked at the message in front of his eyes. Setting an example? Sacrifice and valor? No, thank you. Even if people asked for them, he'd have flatly rejected them. And yet, here he was, reading the message that he had done those deeds. But that wasn't the end of the messages. There were more. The people of the City of Commerce are praising you as the guardian of Cremo. Your steadfast valor, determination, and sacrificial spirit tugged at the heartstrings of many. This is a commerce city. Countless merchants and visitors will encounter your accomplishment from the citizens here, and they will be amazed. The story of your heroic feat will be spread by the merchants and will reach several parts of the kingdom. Many artists inspired by your heroic feat will create various art pieces. For a while, songs, plays, and art pieces of your accomplishment will become a trend. You have become a national star. Your name and accomplishment will, albeit a line, be written in the history of the kingdom. For the increase in social reputation, you have been awarded bonus RP. You have acquired 500 RP. Current RP, 1546. Wow. Looks like I've struck gold. The flood of messages continued without a break, and Lloyd was almost lost in it. At the same time, Lloyd realized one thing. I vanquished the Gigatitan. I did. The monster was too ferocious to fight against. There seemed to be no way of killing it. So, he had tried to hide somewhere while it wreaked havoc on the city. And yet, it was Lloyd himself who finished the Gigatitan. It felt unreal. But it looked like it was true. Just then, the image he saw before losing consciousness came to his mind. The Gigatitan, its weak spot. Getting ready to use the mana blast. And the barrage of rocks that flew out of nowhere. And I got knocked in the head. The sensation still felt raw. He vaguely remembered something hit him in the head with a thud. And the whole world suddenly moved in slow motion. It was the process of fainting. And amid that I used the mana blast in the most foolish way possible. 2 to 3. That was the ideal rotation proportion of the mana circle when using the mana blast. He had obsessively repeated the ratio in his head even while he was passing out. And so, he did something utterly irrational. I didn't protect my heart. He had used the circle needed to protect his heart in the mana blast. And the three circles collided altogether. The overpowering shock shook his body, and that impact was the last thing he remembered. And yet, I am alive. He didn't die. In fact, Lloyd was perfectly fine. His heart pounded with vigor. No, it felt more vitalized than before. However, Lloyd didn't panic or become dazed. Instead, he observed the messages that had been floating since a while ago. And they were kindly walking him through what was happening now. My mana heart skill has developed. Lloyd knit his eyebrows. A mana heart. He didn't have one yet, and he never thought he would even in the future. The required training is much too tiring and tedious. Even the fastest learners take at least 5 years. That's why I decided to do away with the mana heart training. It was true. The mana heart required intense and consistent daily training. Thus, he gave up on the idea. He had decided it would be more profitable for him to do another construction project rather than spend time training. Plus, I had the mana circles that could replace the mana heart. That granted him to have about an equal amount of strength to the knights. Beside him was Javier. Lloyd fully trusted Javier's swordsmanship, and he was confident that he wouldn't get stabbed to death. He decided that was more than enough and settled on the decision. But I guess I have a mana heart now. He felt like he had received a surprise gift. He closely looked at the skill descriptions like he was opening a gift box. Ding dong. Opening the skill information. Skill name, Mana Heart. Stage, Mana User LV, 1. You can artificially save highly dense mana in your heart. The stored mana can be used freely at any time. This will greatly help your physical ability, and your storage and efficiency will increase the more you level up. Physical ability improvement rate, 150%. Required RP to level up, 50. Current RP, 1546. Dang. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. Lloyd clicked his tongue. He truly had a real mana heart. Deep down, he always wanted to create one but gave up because it required too much time and effort. However, he had gained one through unlocking a skill. His heartbeat felt a bit different. Thump. Thump. Each time his heart pumped, Lloyd sensed a lump of mana the size of a plum gathered in it. However, its capacity was closer to a straight 4 sedan engine despite its size. Strength overflowed his heart, like he had built an engine in his heart. Plus, the energy felt natural, like it was part of his body. He felt like he could send it to his arms and legs if he chose to. I really became a mana user. Using mana was the yardstick that distinguished someone from ordinary people. So, what would happen if such power was linked with the triple circle? Lloyd thought he would be able to exert more power than most mid-level sword experts. If he was lucky, he might be able to narrowly match with a high-level sword expert. However, that wasn't all of the gifts he received. The real deal followed soon after. Ding dong. Your mana heart was born, not as a result of regular training but from the impact of the mana blast. As such, your mana heart has been given unique capabilities. A new skill option has been opened. Skill option 1, Shock Neutralizer neutralizes any impact from a mana blast without additional protection. Therefore, your mana heart does not get any damage from the mana blast. This optional skill will greatly help you overcome the limitations of having one circle protect your heart when you need to use the mana blast. Shut up. His eyes widened in wonder as he read them. He even had an option that made him gulp by reflex. His mind started ticking. So, let me just get this straight. Now that I have obtained the mana heart as a skill, I can invest in RP to become a high-level sword expert or higher. I can also unlock more optional skills in the meantime. Plus, now, I'm equipped with a fantabulous optional skill that protects me from the impact of the mana blast. In short, he had hit the jackpot. No, he had hit the biggest jackpot ever. This meant that he didn't have to protect his heart when using the mana blast. He would be able to use the triple circle collision, which he used against the Gigatitan before passing out, anytime he pleased. It was the triple collision mana blast that killed the Gigatitan, I suppose. Does this mean that the power of the blast will increase exponentially as the number of collisions go up? If that's the case, then my blast is going to exponentially get more powerful. It was just when Lloyd was engrossed in his calculation. A familiar face slipped in between the floating messages, and he talked to Lloyd. Are you alive by any chance? It was Javier. He tossed the question to Lloyd, with his ever-the-same indifferent gaze and stoic face and in his usual chilly voice. Any plans on falling back into a coma again? Do you really want that to happen to me again? To be honest. Javier tilted his head to one side, thinking. I think I do. I lived a very comfortable life when you were out. Comfortable? Yes. Javier continued to respond in an unconcerned manner. I only had to stay beside you while you were asleep. I didn't have to split rocks or blast the ground. I didn't have to drive stakes into the ground with a hammer. There was also no need to do any dreadful shoveling anymore. Ha, looks like you've been having the time of your life. That is perfectly correct. That's why you're now upset that I'm awake, eh? Yes. Wow. You don't even try to deny it. When a leader starts excessively working, it's natural that those that work under him get tired too. So, what is the meaning of your right hand that's raised in the air? You're not going to knock me unconscious with it, you? Like you're going to smack me to sleep or anything. Look at you sneakily opening up your fist after my words. That is ridiculous. I would never dare to. Javier stretched his hand and propped Lloyd's nape and back firmly. Then, he slowly helped Lloyd sit up. Lloyd had lied down for too long. Lloyd felt a bit dizzy, but he wasn't in a bad mood. He felt even better when he saw the smile on Javier's face, which betrayed his playful words. I am relieved, Master Lloyd. Indeed. It's a relief. I can torture you again. Yes, it is. I am relieved that your years of being single can be extended. Yeah, it really is. I think I can tell the Baron about how you are trying to walk all over me. Is it possible you're being serious? It depends on how you behave. That means you won't do it. Dang, don't be so confident. Am I wrong? You better wish that you're right. You should pray every night from now on. Lloyd then laughed out loud. It was sincere, and he was relieved. He and Javier were safe. Lloyd grinned, thinking that it truly was a relief. This prompted Javier to be deadpan and put on a straight face. And that made Lloyd laugh again. That was when everything finally felt real. Everything was over. It was now time to reap the awards of his hard work. Black Club. The rewards were more enduring, out of this world, and comprehensive than he expected. The news of his recovery brought a queue of visitors. The first person that sprinted to his ward was no other than Count Cremo. Are you interested in being my son-in-law? Excuse me. The Count, the moment he stepped into the ward, asked if Lloyd wanted to get married to his daughter. And, of course, he had a huge bouquet of flowers that wished Lloyd a fast recovery. I'm not sure what you mean. Of course you do. Should I repeat myself? Asked the Count. Be my son-in-law. Lloyd clamped his mouth shut. At first, he wondered if the man wasn't in his right mind. But his gaze and voice weren't playful. Just one nod. That was enough for the Count to bring his only daughter and rush them into the wedding ceremony. So Lloyd flatly shook his head. Please forgive me. Why is that? I am indeed grateful for your goodwill and offer, but... Lloyd trailed off. But... I don't think I can handle it. It was the truth. Getting married so suddenly? And with the only daughter of the Count? On the outside, it could come across as an amazing opportunity. But the reality would be different, Lloyd thought to himself. Getting married at this point in time? It would be a nightmare. I'd have to spend money to keep up to their noble stature, and the wedding ceremony is going to cost me money, too. And if I have a child, the diaper, the milk, the education, all of it will cost me another sum. I won't be able to pay off the barony's debt then. Certainly, the Count could pay the debt for him. But it would never be for free. He'd be just making a new form of intangible debt to the Count. Lloyd didn't want his hands to get tied that much to the Count. All he wanted in life was to clear the debt from the loan sharks and goof around and enjoy life in freedom. Live modestly in peace and without anything lacking. Just live a simple life. That's all he wanted. So, tying the knot with the Count's daughter and such nobility wasn't much of a noble decision. Lloyd hung his head down again. I am sorry, Your Excellency. TSK. Is that so? Yes, but I appreciate your kind words. You should appreciate both my words and proposal. I am really sorry, Your Excellency. Well, then. There's nothing I can do. Count Cremo licked his lips in regret. After that, quite a lot of people visited him. A business family in the city. A tycoon in the shipbuilding industry. An opulent moneybag who made riches by offering private guard service. All of them were influential people in the city, and they all asked the same question during their visits. Do you want to become a member of my family? The marriage proposals disguised as a hospital visit continued. Lloyd shook his head each time. He had already said no to the Count. There was no reason for him to accept their suggestion for marriage. But instead of a flat rejection, he did so with courtesy, making sure that he still maintained a good relationship with them. Yikes. It's another marriage proposal this time too. I feel like I've become a hot local celebrity. It surprised Lloyd how everyone who visited him had the same goal in mind. However, it only meant that his reputation had gone up that much. It also meant that he was now the most sought-after bachelor across the whole city. The thought elated him, as this was something that he could never even dream of happening to him back in Korea. Javier, who was tending to Lloyd in the ward, let out a laugh. A celebrity? Congratulations. Why do I have this feeling that you're mocking me? Absolutely not. No? Yes. Then, how do you explain that? Asked Lloyd. Excuse me? The bundle of letters in your hand. Oh, Javier said as he looked down at his hand. Could it be? Yes, it is. Seriously? Asked Lloyd. Yes. Those are the love letters you received while I passed out? Yes. Do you want me to count how many? Asked Javier. No, don't do it. 5. 7. 11. 20. I said don't count. 39 in total. Damn it. Speaking of this, you received about 12 proposals, correct? HMPH. Lloyd realized once again that he should not brag before gorgeous men. He shuddered as he accepted his reality. Just then. Knock knock. Someone is here to see you. I will open the door. The knocking sound was followed by the voice of one of the maids in the Count's manor. The door opened. Lloyd thought until then that it was another stranger asking for his hand in marriage like everyone else. He turned to the hospital door believing that and found himself flinching when he saw his visitors. You scoundrel, shouted someone abruptly. The stranger strode fast across the room and pulled Lloyd into his embrace without leaving any time to think. You brat, what did I tell you? I'd reminded you so many times not to take part in dangerous affairs. Huck. Eh? Lloyd snapped his eyes open. It was Baron Frontiera who came along with his wife. Lloyd never expected to see them here. Two of them were whimpering, tightly hugging Lloyd in the ward.